I think people are being asked to communicate in a different way. I mean, I know it from my other things because, again, 5 episode private podcast is working great. Quiz is working fantastic. And it's great that it fills my business. That's great. But like, I want that for everybody that I love. I want, especially like wise women who bridge the worlds, because that's what I really, I don't really give a shit if the bro marketers don't figure this out. That would be fine with me. They can blah, 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 disappear. Bye. We don't need you for the revolution. So bye. The wise men, great, but the bro marketing pushy, you know, buy my formula checklist, let me sell you the product launch formula that no longer works. Like, I'm just like, it's okay with me if this whole change kind of accidentally puts you out of business. I'm okay with that. Or, you know how our teachers talk about like the two worlds splitting, how there's now kind of two worlds. Well, bro marketer, if you're pushy, scary, fear-based, hoo-ha works with the people who want to continue living in that world,
Great.
bye. But over here, the people that are longing for deep acknowledgement, that are asking to be communicated with in a different way, I'm like, oh shit, we better figure out how to communicate with them. And if I've got a couple of solutions for that, how can I not share them? How can I not?
I think you should. And then you could enroll people into the course.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I just changed the curriculum, the fall curriculum for my academy group. So now, like, teach people how to outline out their signature talk, which is really just their messaging points that they use, whether they're in a, whatever, on a podcast episode or on an interview or whatever. It's like, here's your sound bites, here's the order you say them, and here's how it works so that people can feel you. That, and then here's how you turn that into a 5 episode private podcast funnel.
So in a 5 episode private, like, you're sending them, what are you doing in that? What do you send them?
So what you do, you mean like, how does it work?
Yeah.
How do you people that? So you strategize, you create according to your own work and system. You create 5 episodes that are kind of like, I mean, we've all studied different ways of doing like a video sales letter or an offer, but instead of doing it as that pushy stuff, you structure it so that you're dancing with their concerns about hiring you at the same time as you're showing them the levels of your service and messaging.
So it's like you're speaking, or are you interviewing people?
Yeah, no, you're speaking. It's just solo podcast episodes. At the very basis of it, it's you recording audio, 5, 10 to 20-minute audios.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And people love to listen to them because, you can, as you know, because you do podcasting and somebody stuff, people can listen to that in their ear in a very intimate way while they're doing the laundry, while they're taking their daily walk, while they're just laying down and resting for a minute, while they're puttering around. They can
doing the dishes, whatever. Yeah, it's there. That's smart. Yeah. So, and then if you do the launch, what I would be drawn to if I didn't know you, what I'd be like, I think I will sign up for that, is the psychology, how psychology's changed.
Yeah.
That would interest me.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, here's the solution, so podcast and quiz, but let's talk about the psychology of what's going on and how we need to talk differently and show up, not fake, but just shift so people can hear.
Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
That would be so valuable.
Yeah.
And you're smart enough to, and then you, in your own program, you could, like, even one module or whatever, it's like, let's talk about the psychology, where people are in their content.
Oh yeah, no, we talk about that, like educational design for the psychology of the people that are listening and learning and being motivated. It's like, you could study NLP and
Right.
learn how to tweak their psychology all along the way. or or you could study integrous intuitive marketing and learn how to meet them where they're at and mentor them through their decision, which I think is what sales should be.
Yeah, not the, and do you think NLP is out of integrity?
NLP is a tool like a hammer,
Just a tool.
but it's mostly used out of integrity.
It's used in sales a lot.
Of course, it works. It makes people do stuff that they didn't want to do. And for many people, that's what sales is making people do what they don't actually want to do. And for me, that's sorcery.
Yes. See, I never thought of, yeah, NLP, I've learned a little bit of the NLP. I don't use it. I don't know enough about it. I want to speak to people's subconscious.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, not to the excuses, but what's really going on in the subconscious.
Yeah. I mean, when I teach sales, I teach you how to track and speak to your own inner child, your wise woman, and your like higher self. And then I like to think of that for the client as well. So when I'm in a sales conversation, I'm tracking their inner child, what they need. Like, it's scary. Think about investing, it's terrifying. So their kid is in the room. My kid's in the room, like, oh, I want to work with them, and oh, I love money, and blah, 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 you know, and it's like, okay, honey, that's cool. But and then the higher self is also there, like, whoa, I'm divinely appointed to this. I actually need to do this or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then the wise parts of us are the decision makers, like, okay, is this the right timing? Is this the right choice? Like, and then there's no convincing. It's just a collaborative conversation between these six parts, you know.
And that's out of the ego. Like, you're getting out of the ego and getting into beyond what's being said and
Yeah,
all.
it's kind of the higher ego. It's the higher, you know, my wise self is part of my ego. I mean, I make choices because I want something. And but I'm my it's where I like my ego gets on board with listening, with collaborating with the higher self and the inner child. So ego can stop being a bad guy and just be the chooser and lean into wisdom more instead of leaning into the critic. The critic doesn't really get a seat at the table because the critic is just always such a naysayer. Can check in with the critic later, you know, if they have anything constructive to say, but it's rare.
And if you were to talk and speak into the psychology on your launch, what would you say about where people are right now?
Yeah, I think I would say that honestly, I would say that the numbers are showing us the psychology. It's not a theory. It's reality. People don't open emails, even from people they like. They're just not going to open them. People are no longer responding to DMs, even if they seem to be an inquiry, like, hey, how's things going with your blah, 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 delete. Like a year ago, people were like, oh, it's going great. Thanks for reaching out. Now it's like people are like, delete. And so the numbers are showing us that people are skeptical. They're exhausted. They're overwhelmed. They're not trusting.
Yeah, that's the big one. They're not trusting.
Why would they trust? And and they're feeling barraged, attacked by information now. So therefore, in my mind, the only thing that works, and not just in my mind, because again, it's not a theory, I've got the numbers. Like, if there is a private podcast that I can listen to on my own time, in my own space, in my own ear, woman to woman, and I'm choosing it, and then I'm choosing when to listen. Okay, I want that. I want it, so I'll have it. If there's a quiz that gets my curiosity going and it looks fun and not overly heavy or boring or pedantic or wordy or whatever. And I need a lift, and it promises to see me and acknowledge me in a personal way that matters. Okay, I'll give it a chance. Nobody's watching me, nobody's tracking me. I'm doing it on my own time, in my own way. I can do it more than once if I want. And as I'm answering the questions, if every single question seems to like nail me somehow, touch me, move me, reflect me, make me giggle, show me I'm not alone, then I will answer all 7 questions. I will not answer more than 10 because I got things to do, right? And then if I land on the results and they reflect something special about me that I am not getting reflected in this crazy barrage of bullshit, then I will begin to trust. And then from there, I will go to my inbox and purposefully open the full results report email. And that I never do that anymore. I never go to my email looking for a thing, but we get 75% open rates on those emails, 75%.
Huge. On the results email?
Yeah.
That's big.
And it's not just on my quiz, it's on my clients' quizzes, it's on my students' quizzes. I mean, sometimes they'll get 60, 65.
Yeah.
But still 60% open rate?
That's awesome.
And
they're following through, like, oh, so do you, like, let's say you do this launch, which I think you should, because there are a lot of businesses that are, you and I have a base, so
right.
It's not crickets, but it's not
the flow from
forming like it was,
other
but it's
things like it used to be.
Yeah, and it'll get there. I mean, I don't know, it's just being smart, but like, so who would you target the launch for? Is it only spiritual entrepreneurs, or are you looking like all around?
No, I mean, I'm really devoted to my wise women. I'm really devoted to lifting up wise women entrepreneurs. So that's mostly grown ass women. That's mostly like middle-aged, and onward women who've got some experience and some gravitas and wisdom. I have younger women in my programs too. I don't chase them out. I have a couple guys in my programs, but I tell them like, this is a space centered on wise women. So you got to be cool to be in a woman-centered space. And they're like, yay, that would be so refreshing. I'm going to use the pronoun she. I'm going to speak to the women in the room, and you're going to have to sit in your feminine when you're here. And they're like, fantastic. Wow, I'm honored to be in the space. I'm like, that's right.
So you'll open up men and women, the launch.
Yeah, I mean, I won't target men. I target wise women. I really target like spiritually. So yeah, sometimes because they resonate so much with the message. And that's what's so nice about the quiz and the podcasting thing is like, my vibe is clear. I know who I'm here for. If other people resonate with that, if there's a 30-year-old woman who's like, I really resonate as a wise woman, even though I'm 30 years old, I've got an old soul. I've got a lot of life experience for a 30-year-old, and I want you to be my mentor. I'm like, come on in.
I think you should do it. I think you should do the launch. And then would you sell your program at the
I basically set it up so they could come into my business academy group, and at just the right timing at the beginning of October when we're really structuring their system for speaking. And then they could put that to use in creating the 5-episode podcast, and we'll show them how to implement it, how to do the tech, how to set it up, how to get it going. And it can immediately get them clients no matter what they're selling, one-on-one, program, whatever. And then in November, what am I doing in November? November is when I'm teaching the 5-day private podcast. And then to December, which is the quiet month of the year, because my classes always follow my wheel of wisdom calendar, like the natural cycles. So it's northern hemisphere centric, but like in December things get quiet. So they're like sharing that podcast, but I go into oracle work. So I do more oracling for them, like, whoa, here's how your business is shifting. Here's what I see is happening. So they really get more of my strategic oracle support in getting their info out there. And then in January, we help them renew their offer, like upgrade their offer, raise their price, set promises better, clarify how the offer needs to change now. That will be after the election. That will be in a different economy. Like there's all kinds of things that need to get updated every year with their offer. And then in February, I teach them that sales thing I was just telling you about how to do spiritual sales. And then I teach them the quiz,
At the end, toward the end.
But they have access to the quiz training the whole time too. So some people are probably going to be speedy and like, build their quiz while they're also putting together their 5-episode podcast. And I help them with all of it. So
I think it's great.
Okay.
I'll help you with the launch. I mean, like get the word out if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Email for you. I don't have a lot of business people, but there'll be people on there that want to start businesses. I have a lot of clients that I really want to do this. So if they, sometimes they just need to take the leap, but then speaking into the psychology and how things are changing and what you've been watching people do behind the scenes, it's not working as well as it did.
Right. And I think there's a lot of intuitive women, because I know you work with a lot of intuitive folks. Like there's a lot of intuitive folks that have been thinking for a long time, like, I'd really like to give more intuitive readings, or I'd like to have a podcast, or I'd like to be a thought leader, but I'm not willing to do pushy bullshit marketing like I see everybody's doing.
Yes, that's right.
Those people love my academy. And I've got like, it's funny because I tell people sometimes like, oh, you don't need to make a whole complicated quiz funnel if you're just starting a business. But I have people who come in, they're like, I'm just starting a business and I really want to make a quiz. And I'm like, okay. And then they make a quiz and they build these huge lists. I had one woman who came in who was like, yeah, I don't want to make a business, but I might make like a nonprofit or just a club. I just want to create community. And she built her quiz. She created this huge community and she was literally like, wow, I'm not even sure what I want to do with all these people, but I just keep talking to them about their quiz types. And it moved her into her leadership thing because she suddenly had followers and she didn't even try, but that's the magic of the quiz. It grows lists really fast.
And you're not really like, there are a lot of business coaches that are teaching the summit. They teach Facebook ads. So this is new. Like this is a different.
Right. Yeah.
And the other like summits are big. There people are just pumping these summits out.
Yeah.
But
and I love summits. I think summits are so rad. I just wish they were still working.
I know.
And maybe there's a hybrid here too, which is something that came up when I was talking to you before. It's like, I wonder if there's a hybrid that wants to be created between this like private podcast consumption model and the summit structure. I wonder if people would consume it better if it were more of a private podcast event
than video.
Right. And what if I started thinking like, well, how would I do that? Because it's not just like turn on the recorder and record for 10 minutes and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't work. So what if, if in doing your outline of the pieces that you need people to understand so they know they want to work with you, in the strategy of that, you think of like people that you could interview or include in that somehow. And then it's like a hybrid And it might work. It might just work. It might just work to like include interviews
Yeah.
with, but it has to be inside of your strategic outline that meets people's psychology,
I like
aka
that word,
instructional
psychology.
design,
Mhm.
and that meets your unique work offerings and systems, so that as people are listening to these 5 episodes that include some interview, they're still on the journey of deepening into your system and having their objections to working with you released. So it's like it needs to be strategized carefully, is what I mean.
Yeah.
It needs to
And
be
like,
really carefully strategized.
and with your topics, the topics too, right?
Right.
And would you also teach in the five, in that either hybrid or the 5 podcasts? Would you
Correct.
have
Correct.
people
Yeah.
hold, you have the recordings and then they build something bigger from that, like you put them all together and that could be like a package you sell, or you just keep it specific to
No, it does a certain thing. It's not just content delivery. It's content delivery. It's more like, it's kind of like, I want to say evangelization. It's kind
okay.
it's
It's
more like it, like
that,
in your case, those 5 episodes would give people solutions that they're looking for, but simultaneously it would introduce them to the way that you approach the work that is different than the way other people approach the work.
mhm.
And so you're showing them how your unique approach, you're giving them tips, and you're moving them closer to a yes, to working with you, to investing in the deeper work. Because we know that's where the real magic happens, is when they finally invest in doing the deeper work. So I don't have any problem with like encouraging the right people to get the thing they've been avoiding investing in. It's just the right people. So it's sales, but it's sales, integrous sales, not pushy, but encouraging, deeply encouraging from their higher self standpoint, from their little kid standpoint, and for their wise woman.